Hello, very excited to jump into this video with you today. The next part in the series, I'm gonna go ahead and get the disclaimer out there and we'll jump right in. Just a reminder that I am not a licensed professional, I'm not a licensed therapist. I am just sharing my own unique experience and journey and what has helped me along the way. If you are experiencing any thoughts of suicide or thoughts of self-harm, please seek the appropriate medical attention and help when necessary. As well as please use common sense and especially what I talk about today, like know where you're at in your journey and if you're ready for this next step or not. So please keep that in mind before implementing anything or trying anything out that I talk about in this video. Today's topic I'm really excited about. I feel like I say this every single video that everything is like so important. It's all so important and it's all so helpful on this journey. Like everything that I've shared, I feel like has been very critical and crucial, pivotal, like all the things in my journey. But this one, what I talk about today, I noticed the most drastic change from when I started doing this. So I want to talk about revisiting your trauma, going back into the old memories. And I want to set this up as like this, do not do this unless you feel like you're ready. It honestly took me years to get to this place where I felt like I was comfortable. And then when I really started taking my trauma more seriously and started actively trying to heal from it and move on from it and really face it, it still took, I want to say like about a year and a half, maybe 2 years before I could start like really diving back into the memories in an intentional way. Like there's experiencing memories and flashbacks in a way that is you're passive, you're frozen, you're sort of a victim to the memory coming back and revisiting you. I'm talking about this is different. This is intentionally you are going and revisiting. You're taking a trip back to the memory, to the trauma, rather than it visiting you. And this is really powerful. Like this is truly so powerful. This is a way to take back control in a way over what happened to you and really try to process it in a way that kind of like puts it to rest in a way. And again, just like everything I've talked about, this becomes a muscle to kind of do it a little bit over time and work it like a muscle. And you'll start to see improvements, I hope, very quick. That was at least my experience when I started doing this. So again, you have to have a sense of safety established in your body. You have to sort of get out of fight or flight in a large way before you can start to do this, in my opinion, because I think it can be just way too much and way too overwhelming. And rather than you having that grounded sense of safety, you'll kind of get lost in the flashback or the memory. And it's just, I don't know, maybe it'll be helpful for you if you want to try it out and test it out a few times, because if the memories are coming back to you all the time, flashbacks are coming back to you all the time anyways, then why not try to gain a little bit of a sense of control over it? So I'll let you decide where you're at in your journey if you feel like you're ready for that. So I want to talk about the way that I approached it. And I had, like I've talked about previously, a few core memories where things would progress and they would get to a certain point and then my vision would black out. So I only knew like this much that happened. I didn't know all of this that happened. Like completely just vision would black out, like the memory would black out. So whenever I would get caught in a flashback, it would just stop at a certain point, and then I would only relive this portion or, this portion. And as I started to heal, as I started to gain a greater sense of safety, and as I started to revisit these old memories, I started having new flashbacks come up. And this was really off-putting, or I was just very shocked by this. And the things that started coming back to me were far worse than what I was experiencing and what I was reliving. And so I want to put that out there, like that's why I'm saying I think that you need a very well established sense of safety in your life before doing this, is because as you start to heal. And that's why I made the lifestyle factors video kind of sandwiched in between some of the other topics, because I feel like that is just such an important thing to be keeping in mind and doing and implementing and practicing and changing your life in that way along the way, because that is going to create that sense of safety in your current life, a sense of groundedness, so that you can revisit these memories. So all these flashbacks started coming back even more and extending past. So like where it would almost be like a curtain drape, or like, you know, in theater, like when the curtain pulls and it drapes, end of scene, that pulled back and away from me, and I started to expand and relive the memories even more, extended past what I was used to. That was really, really difficult to overcome and kind of face at first. And what ended up happening without even realizing what I was like doing is I went to my husband and just said, this is happening. All these memories are flooding back. All these flashbacks are coming back. And like, I don't know how to handle it. And this just naturally happened. I didn't intentionally try to do this, but I just started telling him what happened, and he just held me, and I just let it out, like what I was feeling, the emotions, the body sensations, everything that was coming up. I just let it out however it came out. Like, and I just remember telling him, like, I don't know how to face this. I really don't. And I just remember weeping in his arms, shaking. Like, I have no idea how long it went on, but it went on for a long time. And just whenever I was done, and again, I was going back to the memory, these flashbacks, I was thinking that in my mind, and I was revisiting it. And again, I didn't even realize what I was doing. And he was holding me. He was my anchor. He was my sense of safety. And as he held me, I had a physical connection, like, to this present moment, to the real world while I was in that memory. And so my body started to relearn safety as I was revisiting these memories. So if you have a loved one, a trusted loved one, it doesn't have to be a spouse. It could be a spouse, it could be your best friend, it could be a parent. Again, anyone in your life that you have, that you feel truly, truly safe with. If you're privileged enough to have someone like that in your life, I would ask them if they would be okay with you doing this with them, or like this exercise with them. I don't know if therapists are allowed to do this, or if this is appropriate to approach a therapist with. You would have to ask your individual therapist. I would imagine that would not be okay. I don't know the level of professionalism that would be acceptable, like, for a situation like that. So, but ask just anyone that you can, that you feel really, really, truly safe with, and ask them to hold you, like, while you revisit these memories and you go back to them. And it really, like, if you can have any sort of tether, any sort of groundedness to this present moment, rather than just being a passerby or a victim to what's happening to you, like, in this present moment while you're experiencing the memories, is a really powerful tool. And so, and honestly, like, after I did that a couple times with my husband, I didn't even mean to try, like, I wasn't trying to do something with it. It just naturally happened. And the memories just became just so much, it had such a less effect on me. And just over time, like, we did this like twice, and honestly, I'm able to have a flashback, a memory, and not be nearly as affected by it in my body. Like, I'm just not so tense about it. I'm not so stressed out about it, or, you know, getting in that anxious fight or flight or freeze state. And I'm not affected by it for hours or even a couple of days afterwards. I am just, oh, like, there it is. And I can kind of let it go and watch it pass. And I even have gained better control over my mental ability to shut the memory off and just be like, oh, no, not going to think about that. I'm going to think about something else, where I felt powerless to do that beforehand. And so a couple of other examples of having like a grounded tether to this present moment. An anchor is finding what that anchor is. That could be a person holding you, creating safety for you. You could also, another really powerful way to revisit memories is to perform some sort of activity like dance or like theater, or I think the best one, particularly with the situation with childhood sexual abuse, would be to, I don't know, sign up for a boxing class or karate or any sort of fighting style, or go to a self-defense class and bring the memory up intentionally into your mind. And this really is like, I think the powerful way to do it is to have a loving parent together, like particularly with childhood sexual abuse, like a loving, or any abuse, a loving anchored person giving you comfort, like having that love, almost like the love of like a mother wrapping around you, and then or a father, a parent wrapping around you, like just unbelievable sense of safety. And then pairing it with revisiting the memory another time while you're fighting, or when you're in a situation where you're not helpless. Because to me, as like a child, again, I froze up. I felt so incredibly helpless, and like I had zero power and I couldn't do anything. And so if you can revisit the memory in a situation like that, where you're fighting back, where you're not helpless, you're also retraining your brain that you're not helpless, like that you can fight, and you're getting yourself out of that freeze mode. So that is a very powerful way to revisit memories. And then after you do that a little bit, you can start to revisit the memories where you sort of are in a like almost meditative state, and you rewrite the memories. So you create a different story. An example of this was, there was a child who was being interviewed after the 9/11 attacks by a therapist, and the therapist was like asking him all these questions about like what he experienced, and got him to do a drawing. And I could be missing some of the details of this story, but for the sake of this conversation, it's a really powerful visual. So the boy ended up drawing the towers and drew people jumping from the towers, because I think that's what he saw. And he drew a trampoline at the bottom of the towers. And so the therapist asked him like what is that? And he goes, oh, it's a trampoline, so that way when people jump, they're safe. And as silly as that may sound, that actually carries a lot of weight when you're revisiting your trauma, to rewrite it. Find a creative way, or a simple and straightforward way to rewrite it. And in my case, this is where I'll be getting a little bit into the details, but again, not detailed, just grazing over like the situation. So in my memories, when I revisited the trauma, I went back to the exact place, and I like visualized myself there as a child. And instead of me being in the body of the child, or like hovering over the ceiling in the memory, like watching myself, I came in as my adult 28-year-old self right now, or whenever I did this at like 27. And I came in and I was the adult. Before anything happened, I barged in the bedroom and I stopped what was happening. I fought the person off, and I grabbed my childhood self, ran out of that house, ran out of that bedroom, ran out of that house, and I said, you're never coming back here. You never have to come back here. And I did more things with that memory, and I kind of created, I don't know, I just found more creative liberties like when I revisited it, and I rewrote it. I changed the story. And this isn't to try to ignore reality. This is really just trying to show yourself that you show up for yourself now in a way that you needed as a child, and that you are safe now, and that you can protect yourself, that you are in control to a degree over your life, and that you're not helpless. And it doesn't change what happened to you, but it does change how you respond to it when it comes back. And again, it's just anything that you can do to create that sense of safety. And like it really is so powerful, and it's a way to put those memories to rest, in a way to bring closure to it, to bring completion. And yeah, so whatever creative way you need to do, if some abuse happened in a house, go back in your memory, set the house on fire. Like when you go to a place in your mind, this is truly so powerful, and it's limitless. Like you can try to get back into your childhood self and tap into that creative imagination that we had as kids and that we still have today. It is such a superpower. And you can picture someone else coming in to save you, you coming in to save yourself, whatever you need to do, just do it, and kind of like approach it in a more lighthearted, curious way, and don't think too hard of like, oh, this is the story I'm going to create for myself. I would recommend to sort of get in a meditative state and just be, and whatever comes up, just kind of go with it. And you can always change the story later. That's what's cool about it. If something doesn't really stick or doesn't feel right, just keep going back. And again, just do this in little spurts as you feel comfortable, and only take on as much as you feel like you can handle. And then, if you're doing this regularly, like maybe set a date with yourself, an appointment with yourself to do this once a week, once a month, whatever, once a day, like depending on how much you feel like you're capable to handle. Yeah, it's a very, very powerful tool. I would love to know if any of you guys try this, what your experience is, if you feel like it's helpful after so much time has passed or so much practice has passed doing this. This is truly like the hardest thing to do in this journey is like actually going back and really facing those memories. But like I said, for me, I saw the most drastic change when I started implementing this, and I don't feel like I need to do that again. But I still kind of do it sometimes. Like it's a nice practice to keep up, and sometimes I've even found that I do it with things that are happening in real time in my life. Like just if I don't like something that happens, I kind of rewrite the memory, not in a way where that becomes my reality, but just in a way that is putting it to rest, where I'm like, okay, I can get over this now. Because it's about resolving conflict, and the conflict is resolved when you can either, like when it can no longer happen again, or even when you can laugh about it. And in this particular case, I don't think that this is a trauma that you can ever laugh about. Laughing about things are more like minor traumatic situations that you can bring humor into. I don't know. I haven't found a way to bring in humor to this particular moment. I do find a way to bring humor into a lot of things that happen in my daily life that are just, I don't know, disturbances, annoyances, or inconveniences, things like that. So anyways, I hope this was really helpful. Please let me know if you try or implement any of this, and get creative. I don't want to say have fun with it, because this is in no way fun, but just try to approach it in a curious, childlike way. And just come up with your story, come up with whatever works for you, and find whatever anchor works for you and experiment with it. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and feel free to reach out to me on my website contact form, darcywilkes.com, or my email info@darcywilkes.com, as well as on Instagram. Or comment here on this YouTube video. Have a great day.